This is the Doug Stewart Show, and I'm your boy, Doug Stewart. Thank you for joining me. Yes. How you doing? How are you doing? I love when that beat dropped right there. I really love that. And it's episode number 28 of the Doug Stewart Show. June 2nd, 2014. So what we're going to do is talk about the 4 biggest stories this week in the world of sports. I call it like my weekend wrap, and I also call it the Funky 4. And we got a couple of good stories to jump into. People have been talking about all week long, and I'm going to give you my 2 cents and keep it moving. All right. Listen, you can email me, Doug@thedougstewartshow.com. You can also text me at 770-847-0536. Continue to tell people about the show. We have a lot of fun. As I said, this is episode number 28. And I remember when I did the very first one a couple of months back, many months back. Continue to just do it. And more things coming. Going to try to make it better and improve it and have a good time. I know you're saying, why do you have on a suit today? Because, like they used to say back in the day in the country, I got to go see a man about a mule. All right? Simple as that. What? Oh, yeah, whatever, Jackie Robinson. Jackie Robinson is actually, I guess you'd call him a producer, but he's really not a producer. He's basically a guy that I let come hang around me and do stuff for this show. So he's commenting about how I look like I just came from church as well. That could be the case. I did go to church yesterday. So anyway, but let's talk about the 4 biggest stories in the world of sports. Number 4, the Spurs versus the Heat in the NBA championship, and it's happened again. This is a repeat from the NBA Finals last year, where the Miami Heat, in miraculous fashion, won Game 6 with the Ray Allen 3, and subsequently went on to win in Game 7 in the Finals. And basically what you have is a story of the Miami Heat trying to get the three-peat. And then you've got Tim Duncan, the veteran, the great player that he's been, him, Parker, and Ginobili, basically the big 3 for the Spurs, trying to get revenge from what happened last year, in which they, in all practical sense, they won the game. I mean, really. I'll put it like this. They didn't win the game, obviously, because the Miami Heat are the NBA world champions right now, going for said three-peat. But a lot of times they'll say in sports, sometimes the better team doesn't always win the game. And I believe, and I know a lot of people that agree with me, that the Spurs were the better team last year, but somehow LeBron James and this leprechaun on their shoulders just inexplicably won another NBA championship, their second last year. So we'll see who comes out and tries to force their will upon the other team. You got 2 great teams, obviously 2 fantastic teams. I really thought about it the other day in watching the Heat when they won their Game 6 clinching win against the Indiana Pacers. The Heat got 3 Hall of Famers on their team, a possible 4, and another guy who's just one of the all-time great shooters who's starting to play basketball right now, starting to play good basketball right now. But the Hall of Famers, obviously LeBron James, Dwayne Wade, and then Ray Allen. You can really make an argument that Chris Bosh, winning a couple more titles, is going to be a guy that may slip into the Hall of Fame. The NBA has a different way of putting guys in the Hall of Fame. I think that they should require a lot more. I think you should be in a more elite status, but a lot of guys get in that you have questions about in the NBA Hall of Fame. Chris Bosh might be a Hall of Famer, okay? He might be a Hall of Famer. So they've got a squad. I mean, you know what San Antonio has. You know that Tim Duncan's one of a lot of people would call the greatest power forward of all time. Ginobili, fantastic player. I think Ginobili's playing better this year right now than he did last year. Tony Parker's had some little injury issues that he missed the second half of their clinching win in the Western Conference Finals against the Oklahoma City Thunder. So we'll see how that plays itself out. Me, you know me. I'm not a LeBron James fan, clearly, and I'm not a Miami Heat fan as this organization stands right now. And these fake-ass Heat fans, not all of them, okay? Not all of them, but there's a lot of fake-ass Heat fans out there that really rubs me the wrong way. I'm hoping that the San Antonio Spurs, and this is crazy because I'm a Laker fan, and I don't want to root for San Antonio or anything. But who I'd rather see win this series is the San Antonio Spurs. All right, topic number 3 in the Funky 4 biggest stories of the week ending June 2nd, 2014. Actually, June 1st, 2014. Today's date is June 2nd. Is the Clippers selling for $2 billion. That's right, you heard me. Shelley Sterling struck a deal with Microsoft executive Ballmer, Steve Ballmer for $2 billion. And it seems like life isn't fair sometimes. Knowing the story about Donald Sterling and his racist rant with his girlfriend, chick on the side, whatever you want to call her, and he buys the team some 30 plus years ago for $12.5 million and is going to sell it for $2 billion. Now, before this deal went down, the experts, people from Forbes magazine and all these analysts, these market analysts and people that do this type of thing for a living said the team might sell for $900 million, maybe $1 billion, but it's gone for $2 billion. It's like the rich keep getting richer, Even when this guy messes up, even when he loses, he ends up on top with a $2 billion sale. So I think that it had to happen, and it's amazing how fast that it happened. I think everything fell into place. I think the NBA had enough goods on the Sterling family where they had to sell it. And the more and more time they kept it, I talked about this in another episode, the longer they kept it, the less that the cost would come in, the price would come in at. I think he'd been devaluing the team the longer that he held on to it. So they make $2 billion, and that's absolutely incredible. I asked this question after it went down. If the Clippers, one of the worst organizations in sports, is worth $2 billion, how much are the Lakers worth? I mean, seriously. The Clippers have been one of the worst organizations in sports over the last 30 years, and they go for $2 billion. Now, I know it's not relative, and I know some of the circumstances and the fact that the Clippers are winning right now really changes that price and that dynamic. But my gosh, the stinky Clippers worth $2 billion, and that's what they're worth. People are like, well, they aren't really worth that. That's just what they got right now. No. If someone paid $2 billion, that's what they're worth, is $2 billion. So just stop all that conversation. They are worth $2 billion. So I estimate the Lakers being worth about $70 billion if the Clippers are worth $2 billion. Incredible, only in America. Story number 2 in the Funky 4 biggest stories in the week ending June 1st, 2014. Lance Stephenson. Going back to the Heat and Pacers playoff round, Eastern Conference playoff round, finals. Lance Stephenson getting under the skin of LeBron James. And this topic and the next topic are basically coupled together. It's all about relativity to you and to other people. Lance Stephenson received a lot of criticism this week for blowing in LeBron James's ear. Not only that, but all types of other stuff, which you would call trying to get under his skin. Now, it worked in Game 5 to a degree, I guess you could say. I don't know how much it really had to do with the Miami Heat losing, LeBron James going for like 7 points. But, Lance Stephenson tried to get under his skin. And they won, forced into a Game 6. They won, and it depends on all how you look at it. Now, let me say this. It is just that, all how you look at it. Now, are there different levels of class in sports, just like in anything? Yeah, probably. But you got to look at it from Lance Stephenson's point of view. He's in a dog fight, He's in a street fight, whatever one of those, comparisons you want to call it. He, to me, was the only guy on this Pacers team with any heart at all. I mean, it was almost like these guys were laying down to the Miami Heat and just, crowning them. I talked about it during this series, how they just gave LeBron James the lane the entire series. I think, personally, Lance Stephenson was one of the real guys with real heart and fight. Like I termed it on Twitter and Facebook. Lance Stephenson had that dog in him. Lance Stephenson didn't care about LeBron James. He didn't bow down to LeBron James, seemingly like the rest of his teammates did. I like that. Okay? Back in the day, they used to call that gamesmanship. And you got to remember, Lance Stevenson is from Brooklyn, New York. Okay? Coney Island in particular. The same hometown as Stephon Marbury. And there's something to be said about a New York City point guard. They have a little bit more swagger than the normal person. Okay? And the normal ball player. So I absolutely love what Lance Stevenson did trying to get under the skin of LeBron James. Not trying to get under the skin of LeBron James wasn't going to work. So why, you got to try something. And he tried. He didn't back down. I really respect it. Now, were some of the things that he did a little bit over the top? Yes. Clearly the slap when he slapped LeBron in the face, thinking that the cameras weren't watching, was over the top. But you got to remember, right before that, a couple plays before that, LeBron James gave him an elbow in the chops. Okay? Then a couple of plays after that, Shane Battier just ran him over, and they didn't call that. So a lot of questionable officiating in this series. I don't have a problem at all with Lance Stevenson. I would love to have Lance Stevenson on my team. And I think people are saying he lost a lot of money, this, that, and the other. I don't think so. You can recognize a ball player. Lance Stevenson's a ball player. And in that same game where he tried to get under LeBron James' skin, he had a great game. Shooting threes, facilitating. He's a fantastic young ball player. He'll learn from some of his mistakes. He'll probably be more of a professional. But get out of here with Lance Stevenson was buffoonery and all of these things that the Heat players Ray Allen talked about. He's a buffoon. No, Lance Stevenson plays the game and probably grew up playing the game a lot different than you, Ray Allen. And I hate to say that because Ray Allen's my homeboy from the state of South Carolina. But I don't have a problem with it at all. And Larry Bird, you got the nerve to say you want Lance Stevenson to tone down the antics? Larry Bird is one of the greatest trash talkers of all time. Okay? We know the story. Larry Bird and Dr. J getting into that fight because Larry Bird was giving it to Dr. J and talking smack. So now, some 25 years later or whatever, you're trying to be critical of Lance Stevenson? Get out of here with that, Larry Bird. Just get out of here. And the last story tying into this whole, looking at it from different perspectives, the number one story of the week, in my opinion, and the Funky Four biggest stories of the week, is Johnny Manziel going to Vegas and having a good time. Are you kidding me? The guy is like 21, 22 years old. He went to Vegas with a pocket full of money and had a good time. Huh? There's a problem with that? You got Mark Brunell saying on ESPN that he should have stayed in Cleveland and studied his playbook. Huh? Are you kidding me? Have you never been to Cleveland, Mark Brunell? I know you have because you played in the league and you played in the AFC with the Jacksonville Jaguars, so I'm sure you have. No. This man is a young man having a good time, going to Vegas, a pocket full of money, and doing what he do. You can't be kidding me. I mean, are you serious? The problem I have with this Lance Stevenson story and this Johnny Manziel story is people got to stop taking themselves so serious. People got to stop acting like they was young. People got to stop acting like a young man with a pocket full of money shouldn't have a good time. It should be this professional, all this, that, and the other all the time. That's foolishness. I wish Johnny Manziel would have called me on the humbug. Hey, Dougie, you want to go party in Vegas? Yes! I'll be at the airport in 20 minutes, Johnny, because I know that man had a good time. Talk about reports that he was drinking out of a champagne bottle, directly out of the champagne bottle. What the hell else you supposed to do when you young and rich and got champagne? You don't drink out no stinking glass. Good for you, Johnny Manziel. Good for you. Yeah. Wow. And Dallas Cowboy fans, I'm going back to this again, and I'm going to continue to go back to this. I may be wrong. I think you made a mistake. And boy, if it comes back to haunt you, play golf with a guy that's a Dallas Cowboy fan this weekend, and he's scared. If Manziel turns out to be the real deal, Dallas blew it again. All right, that is the Doug Stewart Show. Once again, email me, Doug@thedougstewartshow.com. You can text me, 770-847-0536. Pass the word, retweet, share, tell people, and the big thing is to subscribe to the show right down there. And tell your folks, continue to tell your folks, Sports Talk with Hot Sauce. That's the Doug Stewart Show.